The Hill Country Rallye is a 3-day air-cooled Porsche celebration that happens every spring in Central Texas. For almost 20 years, people have gotten together just to share in the experience of driving on some good roads in quirky old cars. The event is limited to pre-1989 air-cooled Porsches. To me, this isn't like an elitist restriction. I think it's just a reasonable way to keep the size down and to keep the experience similar for everyone. So nobody has power steering, everyone has torsion bar suspension, and every car is at least 30 years old. This year there were 300 registered attendees and over 200 cars. You want to be inclusive, but at some point you just run out of capacity to support more cars in a small town and on a limited set of country roads. So they have to draw the line somewhere. Everyone arrives in Kerrville on Thursday evening, and people come from everywhere. You check in, grab a map, and then you spend the evening catching up with friends over beers and figuring out what route you're going to do the next day. The next 2 days are pretty much just that, waking up early to go drive with your friends. You make a couple stops for photos and lunch, but you might do 200, 300, even 350 miles all on back roads in a day. They make new maps every year, and they're really well researched and scouted and organized and designed and everything. It's really a labor of love to put this thing together. 2020 was my 4th year, and every single year I managed to make new friends and learn new things about driving Porsche 911s. My first year, the leader of the drive group and I were just chatting, and he's an older guy, and he was a super fast driver, and he just offhandedly said that there is no better car than a Porsche 911 going uphill because of the rear engine, and no worse car going downhill. And that sticks with me every single time I drive on some corners that have any kind of elevation. I still think of that. Old Porsche 911s aren't actually very fast, but that's kind of what's great about them. You feel everything, you're in control, and you have this sense that you're pushing the car, but you're not really going very fast. I'm definitely not the fastest driver, but the car kind of has a way of making it feel like you're getting the most out of it, even if you're not. They aren't hard to drive, to be honest, but by the end you still feel like you've put in a hard day's work, an honest day's work, driving this notorious car that has no power steering, no ABS, and a gearbox that is waiting for you to make a mistake. The thing I noticed this year is that no matter what car you bring, everyone's just sort of equal. It sounds cheesy, but if you show up and don't know anyone, it seems like everyone you meet is a friend you haven't met yet. You're all on the same page. You're all sort of equal. There are some beautiful, priceless cars here, but no one is there to show off, and no one really gets hung up on status. It turns out there are a lot of us who can be proud of our car and at the same time not feel the need to talk about how much money we spent on it. Everyone has a good attitude because everyone is excited about driving these cars on the best roads we might drive all year. It isn't a concours event. You're not graded on originality or paint condition. If you have some rock chips or wear and tear, those aren't flaws. That's kind of what this is all about. Those are good things. That's not to say your car doesn't matter, because everyone seems just as excited about everyone else's cars. A 914 might be just as geeked over as a mint turbo if it's an interesting color, has a story behind it, or the right patina. Everyone's just excited about seeing all these cars at once and comparing setups and upgrades and experiences. After I bought my 911 SC a few years ago, I became aware of this M42 Martini stripe kit available for it, or at least a replica kit that was available, and it's something that only works on a white car, really. This kit was, from what I gathered, a rare option in the 70s. You could get it for the 911, 930, and the 924, but I've still only seen it in photos. And I thought, yeah, it would be cool to do it, and it's reversible, but maybe it was a little too bold for me. I kind of shied away from making such a statement, but the first time I did the Hill Country Rallye, I saw these Porsches in incredible colors, and I came back thinking, Grand Prix White is great, but it's kind of boring. It's not rare. So maybe I should try this Martini thing. And if I hate it, I could just peel it off. Even though I had this pure vision for the car, I kind of abandoned that and did the stripes, and I'm so glad I did. But the true reason was because I wanted to kind of make it stand out a little more in a group of 911s. I don't usually drive my 911 every day. It's not fun sitting in traffic on a hot day or crashing over city streets that are crumbling. It takes a long time to warm up, all 10 quarts of oil or whatever. And when it's cold, it's really lethargic and unresponsive, and it almost feels like you're damaging it just when you touch the throttle when it's not fully warmed up for a while. I know it's not damaging it, but when you only drive it on nice days on the weekend, you get into this mindset that this 40-year-old car is a fragile, delicate thing and something's always about to break. But then you come out to the rally and you're just thrashing on this car all day long for a full weekend, hundreds of miles, plus driving it 300 miles each way to get there, and you completely forget about that fragility mindset. You just get into this rhythm where you're shifting at 6,000 and braking hard and hitting cattle guards at 60 miles an hour. It becomes a nice reminder of what these cars can do and what they're meant to do. It doesn't matter that some of the cars are 30, 40, 50 years old. You just rediscover that they have more grip than you realize, more drivability, and more precision than a lot of brand new cars. I wouldn't go as far as to say these are bulletproof, but more often than not, they can take whatever you throw at them. And if you do have an issue, it's really nice to know that there are tons of people with decades of know-how and trunks full of tools who are willing to help you out and get you back on the road. If you're going to have a breakdown, you want to be surrounded by all these other enthusiasts that know what they're doing. There's nothing profound about this formula. It's a bunch of well-to-do people who share a hobby, getting together to drive some cars and talk about them. But it becomes so much more. It's something special. For a couple days, everyone shares in this camaraderie and we all rediscover what makes these cars fun, and we rediscover what we love about driving. Speaking for myself, I always rediscover why I look forward to this weekend so much every year. Thanks for watching, and hit those buttons.